Hello, and welcome to a vintage story thing. I'm super excited about this episode. Just sat down with a mug of tea, which is entirely too hot for me right now, just like the anvil sitting next to me, which we will be getting back to both later. But right now, what we really need is wood. All of our wood is currently these oak logs, which we are not going to be using for construction, and this small stack of firewood. That's all we've got. And since we're about to hit the metal age properly, it's about time we got some more wood up in here. So I'm going to grab both of our axes, especially since this first one is already basically, what it is its durability? 3. Okay. So let's go knock this axe out. Once that anvil is cooled down and we're able to smith some things, and yes, we'll be getting into smithing today, finally, we will open up a world of lumber and construction, and I am very excited about that development. Our house right now is very cute, but it doesn't have a particularly diverse color palette. And I think it's about time we fix that. So I'm here at the edge of our spruce forest, and we'll definitely be collecting some of it, but I want to go exploring down into here because we have some bees to find, and that pixel is a strange color. I'm going to mark it as a point of interest for us to explore. So that is our new objective. In fact, I'll even pin it. Now, I don't believe we've been even this far south yet. I think we've been down here. So everything past this pond, basically, is going to be all new to us. We have a few things that we want to do in this forest. I don't think this fruit tree is going to actually work here. So I'm going to cut this down and take it with us. The reason I haven't been cutting any of the other fruit trees down that are closer to our base is, they're just so close to the base, there isn't much of a reason to, really. Once they bear fruit, we can just zip around and collect them. But since this one was so tucked in here with a lot of foliage already in the way, I don't think it would have grown properly, and I would rather take my chances with finding copper in the middle of the forest. Oh, this world keeps giving. I love it. I'm just going to mark this for now, but we might return. There is a lot that I want to get done down here. We have some hunting to do. I really want to find bees, because using fat to seal crocs is, it's effective. It does work. It's just very resource intensive compared to the ease of producing beeswax that we could seal with. So I really want to get us on that bee train sooner rather than later. I'd also like to do some hunting. I don't believe we have any meat back at home, and meat preserves well and is quite calorie dense. At least at this stage of the game, it's one of the easier things to... Tin. We found tin again. Okay, hold on. This needs to be investigated. So, change of plans. Let's get back home and grab our pickaxe, because that is very exciting. Oh, it is really annoying getting through this forest. I'm gonna cut to the side. That's a bear. We only have one spear. I'm not gonna go for it. Bears only give bushmeat, which you can't really preserve, but they do give a lot of it, and it makes for a decent kind of out and adventuring food. I would say meals are still better, but don't let perfection be the enemy of a full belly. You never really stop looking at the ground in Vintage Story. There's a lot of resources that remain relevant far longer than you might expect. Flint, for example, is something I basically always be collecting whenever I see it, for the entire length of the game. Oh, our cattails have come in. That little surface nugget gave us enough for an anvil, and we just finished the copper anvil. We'll you know what, we'll linger in the Copper Age for a little bit longer. I am, after all, ostensibly teaching how to play this game, so I suppose examples are warranted. I mean, you know what, we can keep the copper anvil for now. The only reason to upgrade the anvil is once you're working higher level metals on that anvil. An anvil can only be used to work metals of one tier above, or of up to one tier above the material of the anvil itself. So our copper anvil, which might be done, it is. We can just pull it out. In the next version, you'll have to use other means of extracting an anvil mold, because as you can see, it's a little ridiculous that we can just pop it right out. But now I don't have anywhere to put this. There, for the time being. We'll figure it out later. With this tin ore, we are now able to make bronze for our tools, but we will be able to still work that bronze on our copper anvil. Once we get into iron, then we'll need a bronze anvil, but that is a little bit off from now. Probably, unless we get ridiculously lucky again. Okay, I wanted shovel, the pickaxe. Let's grab our pro pick. Look at that, obsidian fans. It's back. It's 1500 hours. We have enough time to find that tin out. Looking for bees, I am mostly trying to hear them. Seeing them first is pretty unlikely. Hives will spawn in on the underside of leaf blocks. Possibly only the branchy blocks, but I'm not 100% sure on that. They spawn inside of trees, usually covered up by a bunch of leaves, and you gotta go poking around to find them. Oh, here's the tin. I'm gonna start digging. This looks like a little bit larger of a deposit, perhaps. It's unfortunately of poor quality. We got a crystallized chunk. That we might break open. I think that's all the tin, and what a vibrant sunset we've emerged into. Since it's already starting to get dark, I'm gonna go hit up these native copper bits that we found earlier. Rather, I'm gonna go home because we don't have enough inventory space for that. No bees and no hunting though. Bit unfortunate that. That's a male and a female bighorn. We should make a pen and try to get them in there. We can probably just use a trough bait, actually. That would be nice. Right, hammer, and how much cassiterite did we get? We're up to 22 chunks, and 37 once we put it all together. That's not half bad. Just like our anvil, I think the tea has cooled down enough. And tonight I am drinking Genmaicha, I believe is the pronunciation. It is a green tea with toasted brown rice, which gives it this nutty, rich kind of sweetness. Just a touch of sweet. It's really good. Ah, perfect temperature. Just like the anvil, which we need to start using. But now that we have the anvil, there is actually another thing that we need. And that, we get this mold out of the way. I have nowhere to put things that isn't in the way. But we need to make something called a forge, which is created very simply. It's just lining up some cobblestone in a capital U shape. And this is what we'll use to heat up our ingot, which, right over here, we only have one right now, which we should attend to that. And we take a piece of charcoal and shift click to put it in. I forgot to hold shift. There we go. We'll start that ablaze. That'll take a moment to heat up. We'll need to make more ingots, but I'm planning on doing bronze ingots. So we'll do a bunch of alloy and get at least 6 of those. But we're going to want to make a lot of copper ingots as well, because we have a lot of kind of base utility things for which durability doesn't matter that we'll want to make. That's things like lanterns, chests, more storage. Having more storage is going to be great. But the first thing that we're going to make, well, I guess let's just make it. You can see our ingot is starting to glow again as it heats back up. I think that might be enough. As before, we put our wooden tongs in our offhand. Now I can pick the ingot up. Shift right click and we get another recipe selection menu. This time I know exactly what I'm going to be making, and that is the saw blade. This is our first tool, and I think probably the most impactful. Now, as you might be expecting from our knapping and our clay forming adventures, this is another little voxel minigame. With this one, we take our hammer, right click will turn our pattern and ingot, but as with the other minigames, we press F to pull up our different options, and upset up, right, down, and left will move the voxel that we hit in whichever direction. It's a very strange name for them. I'm sure there's a historical reason. A heavy hit will just kind of splat the voxels out in all directions, and splitting should be left until the very end, because that will permanently delete voxels from the workpiece. For now, we're going to pick upset right, because I'm going to start working on this kind of tail over here. And the first move that you make on pieces is a little different. We can actually come in one voxel and hit here, and it jumps down the edge for whatever reason. I'm just going to start working these down. We only need 2 voxels here. Let me change to upset up, and now back to right. Now we're going to want to move all of these to the left. So now we've placed all of the voxels that we needed to, and the rest of them, even along this back side here, are all outlined in red, which means that those need to be removed. So we're going to pull up our tool selection menu, split, and with this one you want to be very careful. It is a little bit delayed from when you click, so just hold your mouse in place once you hold the button down. And you cannot get the pieces back without adding a whole other ingot. And that is extremely wasteful, so you really want to be careful about which pieces you remove. Well, this is our last voxel. And since we still have the wooden tongs in our offhand, we can hold this. Let's go into our farm here. Are you ready for one of the most satisfying sounds? Let's quench our workpiece. That right there is the sound of success. Now we can take our saw blade and, like with every other tool, put it on a stick. And now we have a saw. We don't have much wood to use it on yet, but let's take our larch logs here. We can turn them into boards. And we really need to head out and level an uncomfortable amount of this forest, but I can still show you what we can make out of these boards. So if I hit H on it to bring up our handbook, you'll see an enormous list of things. Now, a lot of these are added by mods. I believe everything beyond this wooden path, so everything after it, is from a mod. A lot of them you'll see are flashing because they're different color variations, essentially. And there are a lot of things that I want to make in here, including there's a lot of mechanical contraptions and what have you, but we will be making a lot of larch planks and larch slabs. Those are going to be primary building materials for us for a while. There's also some other wooden things that I want to end up making, but those are going to be mainstays for quite a while for floors and walls and all manner of things. It's a lot less labor intensive than using rammed earth for everything. This tea has this amazing smell. If you like the smell of rice, you'll probably enjoy Genmaicha. The sun is already starting to come up. We still have more to do. So I'm gonna hang up some of our tools. And let's, again, see about getting some wood. When we come home tonight, we'll see about making some more ingots, because there are definitely more things we want to make. Oh right, I wanted to harvest our cattails. Let's do that while the sun is still rising. We have a healthy little cattail farm. I got 92 cattails out of that. I've been planting flower seeds over here by this sketchy pit next to our base. And at this point, it's just kind of becoming an organizational mess. We need to figure out a flower farm at some point. It works for now, but it's not good. I just saw that bighorn and I was reminded we might do that tonight alongside our smelting project, because the amount of bronze that I want to make is going to take quite a while to heat up, so we should have some time to do a little building. I find myself back at this copper. I figure we might as well. There we are. That is medium quality. Let's get this mine down. We'll be quick about this one. I'm not expecting anything crazy. There's only one nugget on the surface, so the chances are pretty high that this is a relatively small deposit. It's pretty small, but not terrible. Got about 400 units of copper, which is 4 ingots. So that's not half bad. You know, I'm realizing we still haven't made it to that weird orange or maybe pink pixel that I saw on the map. Let's head there and then start chopping some trees. Oh. Ooh. And was this a weird pixel that I saw? Looks like it might have been. That's a little bit disappointing, just a nothing cave. And now it is marked as such. But let's get to chopping. I'm not really caring too much about gathering seeds at the moment. I can fill in the patch if I happen to make one at some point down the line. And I will definitely be self-planting, because we'll get at least one seed out of every tree. In the left channel, do you hear bees? I think I might be hearing bees. No, I was just hearing a weird cave waterfall. I see a small ruin over there. Alright, let me grab this tree first while I drink my tea. You know, one of the kind of neat things about Genmaicha is the toasted rice was actually added as a filler, and it was intended for the lower classes. But it turns out it's actually quite nice. And now it's just a common tea in Japan anyway. I had never heard of it until quite recently, but it's quickly become a favorite in my rotation. Alright, so here's that ruin, and boy is that buried. Cobblestone blocks, despite being stone, you can actually break by hand or with tools that aren't a pickaxe, but a pickaxe does make it a lot faster. I'm planning on using a lot of basalt cobblestone, so I will actually go ahead and collect this. I have to say, it doesn't look especially like there's anything else of note in this ruin. So I'll take what I can get and move on. Oh. I was looking at this mushroom and then native copper bits right behind it over this earth ball. This is poisonous and I can use it for a basic potion base. So I'm going to tag that and... oh, we're running low on inventory space. What is this vine doing in my inventory? Let's grab these earth balls. I want to start poking around at the alchemy system a little bit more in this world. It's a really neat little system that I've been completely sleeping on. Where was that copper? Here it is. And here's another copper deposit that does not want to so easily give up its secrets. Let's grab our prospecting pick and see if it's close to the surface or if we have to go down a ways. Large amounts of native copper. All right. Well, let's keep digging. And it looks like there's our copper. This is another medium deposit, which is convenient because it will stack with what's already in our inventory. Oh, no, it won't because it's in granite. I forgot that there's different ores in each host rock. So this will not stack with our existing copper. And this might be only medium quality, but this is a large vein. Possible episode title, Literally Drowning in Copper Riches. I'm kidding, I'm definitely not going with that as the title. But speaking of possible names for things, I've decided that we're going with Lichened City in the nation of Subscribia. So that is Lichened Subscribia. Okay, I'm completely kidding. I think the name that we're going with is Coppersburg for the settlement itself, and we are positioned within Rosa Bay, this whole little concavity on the coastline. Concavity on the coastline sounds like something. I don't know what that something is, but it sounds like something. Have there been any crystallized chunks that have fallen? No, because my inventory is like this right now. So if we get any crystallized chunks, it will get left behind on the ground, and there are definitely things that we can ditch in our inventory. Let's say that there are now trace amounts in here. I don't know that I care enough to go for them. I think I'm just gonna get out of here. Oh, the bear has come closer. All right, I'm just gonna go the other direction. Oh, more earth balls. Nice. Oh, that's the bear. I did not think I wandered close enough. Being a hunter, we have 10% faster move speed, so we should be able to outrun it. I believe bears will happily chase you for a while. I think we might be good. Oh, there's another bear. Hi, raccoon. Yeah, I'm kind of freaked out too. It's two different kinds of bear too. That's freaky. The shadows are growing longer, so it's about to get dark. I think it's time for us to start smelting some metal up. We have a lot of things to be making right now. I'm gonna take our meal off of the fire and replace it with our crucible. We'll have that sitting next to us while we do this. I've already measured out 120 nuggets, which is enough for 6 ingots of copper. The reason I chose that amount is, well, that's just how many ingot molds we have. Actually, our pickaxe is getting low. I'm going to throw another 20 in right now. Here we go, 700 units of copper. Gonna put some more wood on the fire to preheat. And you know what? I feel like our trader might have reset. Let's see if he's buying any renewables again. Hey Adachi, sorry to visit so late. And no, he has not reset his demand for peat yet. We can sell fire clay to him. I mean, not right now, we don't have any to sell, and we would be using our fire clay if we had any. Oh, I can sell beeswax too? Yeah, we really need to find bees. That's such a good thing to be able to sell, but nothing at the moment. Although speaking of, we only have 12 pieces of coal, 12 pieces of charcoal. We should probably refill this, which takes 4 stacks of logs if I remember right. We don't even have enough for that. Okay. We do, however, have 42 pieces of cobblestone. What I'd like to do with these is start making some upgrades to our humble abode. The first thing I'm going to do is make this wall a bit more substantial. We've had entirely too many shivers coming over it. Our axe broke. I should make a new one. Maybe out of copper. Now this, being 1 block tall, is perfectly climbable by entirely too many things. Let me put another torch there. I noticed that the center of our farm was a little bit darker than I would like. But this is not the final state of the wall. I'm going to take some of our rammed earth and do a little bit with that. So actually, let's check our crucible real quick. Ooh. It is, I just saw it at a decent temperature. We can light it back up. Yeah, it was at 600. That's not too bad. So I lost like 100 degrees Celsius. I'm gonna put 4 in for the time being. What do I make? Mortar and pestle. Okay, so it requires a chisel to do the nice one. I can run a wooden one for now. That's fine. So that is log, knife, stick. Okay, log, my knife, the stick. Oh, do I have any horsetail in storage? No, I just turned all of it into seeds. Okay, that's fine. I didn't just want to use that or anything. Oh, they are getting pretty toasty. This is gonna need more. I'll drop another... Ooh, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Oh no, all of the copper fell out. I clicked on it by accident. This is terrible. Okay. There. Please continue heating up. That was awful. I accidentally clicked charcoal into this slot and... well, that is not what I meant to do. I'm going to drop another 4 in. That is a lot of charcoal. We are going to need to cut down a lot more trees tomorrow. Okay, back to the wall. Oh, am I going to have enough? No, how short am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Perfect. That's how big a batch of rammed earth is. Let's go grab 6 pieces of dirt. Now I'm going to take the fence pieces and put them back up, though this is temporary. So I will admit it's a bit of a prison vibe, I'm not gonna lie. But I think it'll work for now, and I do have plans for a different way to top this off. Also, I think this might end up being mostly temporary in the long run anyway. So for now, it can stay. How's our crucible looking? It is white hot still. Excellent. Put our tongs in our offhand. Grab our crucible. And let's go pour these out. And finally, a new pickaxe, which I know is copper. It's fine. We don't really have enough charcoal to do alloying right now. So I'm gonna have a sip of tea. Oh, this tea is really neat. It changes as it steeps for longer and gradually cools down. The sweetness really starts to come out later on into the mug. Is it starting to get lighter? Yes, the sun is coming up. Let's take advantage of that to get some more larch. And while I'm out here just cutting down trees for the next however long, I wanted to reflect on how much we've actually gotten done. It's been very gradual. It's been, many hours. But we really have accomplished quite a lot in this world now. Production of an anvil, even of copper, is no small feat. There's a ton of systems we've had to learn and take advantage of in order to get to that point. Even just food to stay alive. We've already started preserving food. We've had to do knapping for our very first tools. processing logs into firewood and then into charcoal, which is actually one of the things we're going to be doing with the wood that we're collecting right now. Then we had to figure out the whole pottery system of pit kilns and crafting the molds. Then we had to figure out the smelting system and alloying once we get to that. Then there was the mining system, finally collecting enough copper to make the anvil, and then the smithing system to get to the saw. And there's a bunch of other tools that you can only make through the smithing system as well. You can't just cast everything. I just thought it was worth appreciating how Vintage Stories systems are interwoven and support each other. We're actually going to want to keep some of these logs mostly intact. I'm going to be using some of them for structural / decorative elements in our, not revamp, what's the word? In our base remodel. Hello, floating vines. Just gonna do something about these real quick. So I think we now have more than enough logs to turn into a full pit of charcoal. We're going to need a lot more to get any building done, but our inventory is already a mess. We have some boards, we have ingots. You know what? Let's go back home and see how those ingots are cooling down. Oh, it does look a lot more secure though, doesn't it? Look at that. Even just that little touch. It's really doing something. I like it. Oh, this door. This door that likes to fall off on us. We're doing something about that, finally. What we're doing about it is we're taking these boards, put them in a 2x3, and that gives us a solid door. Now, more than just not falling off of the hinges anymore, which is fantastic enough on its own, the solid door has a property that the crude door does not. The solid door, though we don't have a roof, the solid door will seal rooms, meaning we can finally get a room bonus without plugging holes with hay or dirt or whatever. Right now it's a little bit of a moot point because we don't have the roof, but we will, just in a bit. We'll get there. Our copper is hardened. Look at that. I'll pick up all of our ingots. We'll stack them up here just for the moment. And this pickaxe, I'm actually going to leave because we have other things to be doing, such as stacking up some more firewood for charcoal. Get this lit and seal it up. Cool. Now we have more charcoal cooking. And this crude door is fine. We're not using this as a cellar or anything, so I'm just gonna leave it be. This crude door can just stay here in the open. It knows what it did. We'll take care of you later. I don't actually know what I'm gonna do to it. Maybe we should burn it. That might be fun. Have a little bonfire of it. Oh, these turnips are done. All of our turnips are done. Grains are taking a bit, as they do. Parsnips have a while yet on them. These carrots are coming along nicely. We don't really have the storage right now to deal with these. Okay. I'm gonna leave them in the ground for now. So, looking at my inventory, the thing that we need the most right now is storage. Again, storage is perpetually the problem. This is really all of the storage that we have. These 2 storage vessels and a reed chest. Which is all fine and dandy, but we need more. I'm gonna go grab some more clay though before it gets dark, while it's still bright, because a nighttime activity that we're going to start having is clay forming clay shingles. So many shingles. Let's open the handbook real quick. And I will pause the game because I don't know how to type. So we'll be making fired red clay shingles, and it takes 3 red clay shingles to make 2 pieces of shingle roofing, which we can then convert into the one roof block variants, which are just so much easier to work with. And I'm going to use a new mod that I literally just added minutes before hitting the record button, and that is Bookmark, which allows me to bookmark a list of entries in the survival handbook, which is darn handy. For example, another bookmark I want to make is for larch boards, because I suspect I'm going to be coming back to this page very frequently to look things up. I'm also going to bookmark the larch log, because I'm going to be referring back to this for debarking, which is an axe, hammer, and log, and quarter logs, as well as what quarter logs can be turned into, because I have some plans. Oh, we had more clay than I realized. Nice. Why do we have grain over here? Oh, because we have no storage. That's why. So I am rationing out this pot of meals because of the meal hunger pause mechanic. So I am having a meal and then waiting until I notice that my hunger has fallen. It's just one of those little optimizations that probably doesn't add up to all that much, but it's something, you know? I'd like to make some more upgrades to our base. This is not all I wanted to do. I'd like to replace all of the rammed earth in our little pit kiln area here, because I think it'll just look a lot cleaner. Especially, well, actually it'll look a lot less clean and more as though it's kind of full of soot and stuff because of the dark color of our basalt cobblestone. I have 17 blocks of cobblestone now, but we'll need 28 total. Actually not that far off, but I'm also going to need a lot more wood. Oh, it's very early afternoon. It's only 1 in the afternoon. Let's go get some more larch. Oh, one of our home larches grew. I'm going to let this stay because I like the idea of having a bit of greenery built up around our base. You know, get some shade during the sweltering August heat. Unfortunately, overheating is not a mechanic yet. You can freeze, but you can't overheat. Which, if you ask me, is very unrealistic. As someone who begins to shut down at, it's about 27 Celsius, 80 Fahrenheit. I'm trying to become more fluent in Celsius. I picked up meters quick enough. It's just nice being able to speak common measurements with friends, you know? Tea time. It's sat for just a moment too long now, and there's some definite bitterness showing through. But it's very close to the bottom. That was a good mug. Well, my axe just broke, so I'm gonna head back home. We've got a little bit less than 3.5 stacks. That's probably good to work with for the moment. Right, well, it's a little bit earlier than I was strictly planning on doing this, but I'm going to grab our tongs and our offhand, our hammer, light our forge up to heat up these 2 ingots, because I know what I'm planning on doing with these. And while that's going, I'll keep an eye on it, working on a little clay forming. Right, I ended up continuing to clay form for a little longer than I originally intended, because you can stack 48 shingles in a pit kiln, and, well, I was so close. Alright, let's get our tongs in our offhand, pick up one of these ingots, drop it on our anvil, and I'm going to be making nails and strips, specifically the 4 stack. The recipe that makes 8 nails and strips requires 2 ingots, and that second ingot over there is earmarked for the axe head. So I'm going to select nails and strips, 4 of them, get our hammer, and let's get to it. Now Now the second ingot is still hot enough to work. Let's make that axe head. For the record, you don't actually have to cool down your tool heads in order to turn them into the finished tool. You can just put them on a stick, but man, it's so satisfying. I'm always going to do it. I just heard a grumpy wolf out there. Where is this grumpy boy? There you are. Oh, look at that throw. That was really good. Got some fat, and that is definitely worth it. Now that we have these nails and strips, let's see what we can do with them. So I can make a whole bunch of things that have been added by mods, but the thing that I care about right now is wooden chests, which is a nails and strips of any material, though we will predominantly be using copper throughout the entire game, and 8 of any board rounded in a square. So let's make 4 of them, or as many as we're able to with however many boards we have. Okay, we can make 2 chests. But wait, there's more. So there kind of is. I'm going to turn these into more logs so that we can finish it out. And now we have 4 wooden chests. Wooden chests, though, have a neat little property where if you stick 2 of them into the crafting grid, you get a trunk. Now the reason I call it a neat little trick is this does not quite work out how you might think. So put down a single chest, and I'll put down the trunk. The chest has a 4x4 grid, so that it's 16 slots, and you would expect that the trunk would have 32, which it does, but it also has an extra set of 4 slots. You get a little bit extra room in a trunk versus 2 chests. You end up with 36 slots instead of 32. They aren't necessarily always more efficient, but you can sneak a little bit more storage into the same physical space that way. It's time for some excellent news. All of these pelts that have been making up our floor all this time, we can finally put them in storage. And I'm going to put a small chest here. We'll dump these in there for now. It is worth noting that chests do not grant a spoilage bonus to food items stored inside of them. For that, we will still want to use storage vessels despite them being smaller. But for crocs, we actually have something way cuter. And that is if we take boards and we put 4 of them, like so, we get a shelf. I'm only going to make 1 for right now, but we can store all kinds of goodies on here, including bowls and our cooking pots. I don't think we can put our tea... Nope, we cannot put our tea kettle on them, but that's okay. We'll just have that out in the open. We can put our mugs on it, which we might do. And it turns out I was a big fat liar. I'm going to make 2 shelves. I'm going to throw our... Oh no! Oh no, we've lost so many torches. Literally saw that go out while I was standing next to it. Anyway, we can throw our crocs on these shelves, and we will be mirroring this in our cellar once we make it. But that is in a little while yet. I do have a plan for where the cellar is going to go, and I am excited to do our renovations on our home. This little hovel is gonna get an upgrade, something fierce. Looking forward to it. Speaking of, I have half a mind to start right now. But it is night and we don't have... We have some cobblestone? We don't have enough cobblestone. I think it's clay forming time. One of the really nice things about Carrion is how you can just reposition the chests. You can't pick up the trunks, unfortunately. And I get why you can't, but boy do I wish you could. There is actually a toggle for it in the config. Maybe I'll turn that on and just never wear a trunk on my back, but it would make it a lot easier to sort our storage once we have a little bit more going on. It is annoying navigating in here with all this stuff on the floor. We'll need to set up a little blacksmith spot sooner rather than later. And you know what, speaking of, I've been meaning to mention this pit kiln structure. The roof is very low. In fact, if this was not made of roof blocks, it would catch on fire from the pit kilns. For some reason, roof blocks impervious to fire. Don't know why. Doesn't seem right. Also, fire reaches 2 blocks away from pit kilns, so technically this row of blocks is in danger of catching on fire. However, because of the natural trails mod, and since I'm always walking up along here, there's no grass to catch on fire. Otherwise, this is not a great design. So if you copy this design, be sure to put roof blocks in here, or just raise the roof by 1, which is probably the easier option, and place packed dirt along the leading edge here. You want to go 2 out, just like how I have packed dirt in this row. And that will prevent fire from taking out your entire base, especially if you build it out of wood. There's a lot of little things like that. Like, I mean, you'll learn that on your own, but there's a lot of little mechanics in Vintage Story where you're probably not going to figure them out on your own unless you are taught. And in some ways, that's a strength of Vintage Story, but also kind of a weakness. It does make it a little bit unapproachable. And by things that need to be taught, I mean things that aren't in the handbook. Sometimes not even on the wiki. Specifically, I'm thinking about things like the hunger pause for meals, or how rooms work as an entire set of mechanics. Rooms, cellars, endlessly confusing. I mean, the rules are actually quite simple, but there isn't even a way without console commands to visualize if a room is a room or not. And when we get to sealing our base up, I will explain those rules for what makes a room, but my point is that it's not necessarily an intuitive system, and there isn't really a way within the game to learn how it works. But that's what videos like this are for. They can help to fill in those gaps. And you could argue that videos teaching people how to play the game shouldn't exist, that the game should be able to do that itself, and I mean, you have a point. But the reason I said that in some ways it's a strength of Vintage Story, that it's so confounding, is because it has helped to build a very cooperative community where everyone was a noob at some point, and everyone can be humbled by new information because no one knows everything. For example, this is my first time making a clay shingle roof. So how many is this? That's 48 times 5 divided by 3 shingles per 2. So this will make 160 roof blocks, which will go faster than you might think, but I think that is not going to be enough room for what I have planned, which is fine. There are definitely worse fates than needing to make more clay shingles. But also, wow, that's a lot of clay shingles. All right, let's make one more stack of 48, and then we'll start these fired up. And while I'm forming these, I wanted to give a huge thanks to everyone watching, but especially my supporters over on Patreon. And I'll have those names on screen right now. It really does mean a lot. So thank you very much. Financial support is never required, but always appreciated. Thank you. And in just a couple days from the recording of this video that you're watching right now, I will be recording my first Patreon exclusive, which is a monthly recap video where I just kind of talk about how the channels are doing and how I feel about the videos that I've put out, if there's anything I feel I could improve upon, or just anything else that I learned. So if you're interested in that kind of behind the scenes content, my Patreon is linked in the description below. We are now. I burnt my foot a little bit. I think it's time for us to make some tea. So I already have our teapot loaded up with forget-me-nots, which is a healing plant when turned into tea with this mod. And now that I'm thinking about it, we don't want to do that. I'm going to take that out, put the teapot on our fire. Well, what will be a fire once we light it. And forget-me-not tea is brewed between 60 and 80 degrees Celsius. It's now at 100. I'm going to take our flowers and let it cool for a moment down to 80. It should start to do. There it goes. Now it's starting to fall. Just took a minute. And as soon as it hits 80, I'll drop in our forget-me-nots. And there it is. Drop them right in. Let's grab our mug. Am I gonna have to juggle it on the fire? I think I am. This mod. Oh, now it's brewing up nicely. And there it is. It's done. Let's fill our mug and take a sip. Oh, and it does heal a little bit. Though it seems to also be giving me the drunk effects. Oh no. Well, live and learn, I guess. I was hoping that would be more or less free heals. I was hoping to stop the wavering camera, but, well, I just gave myself a wavering camera. Okay, I'm gonna get back to work on some of these upgrades for the house. And where's my shovel? There it is. And it feels pretty good to finally be moving up in the world, architecturally speaking. Yeah, this is going to be quite the upgrade. But as part of that upgrade, we need a lot more cobblestone. And since it's still early afternoon, I'm going to go get some more basalt cobblestone. I'm going to return to our first little copper deposit. Here it is. We already have another pickaxe waiting at home, so I'm actually gonna finish this one out, I think. Just to finish off the pit kiln shelter, I'm going to need 3.5 stacks of basalt stones. I think just to finish that little building, I'm going to be dipping into our next pickaxe already. Well, our first pickaxe just broke, but we did get enough basalt stones for what we wanted to do. At least for that small section of our project. And I'm going to need more grass to make torches. I just realized we only have one in our inventory at the moment. And since I keep forgetting to replace them, that is not an infinite supply. Ooh, another one of our larch trees has grown. We're gonna be in a lush little glade before you know it. And this will turn into a full tree in less than a day. Look at that. Oh, I have a stack of basalt stones right next to base that I've completely forgotten about. Well, like a half stack. Still, it's something. So we want 3 cobblestone stairs, and we gotta make 4, but that's okay. I have other needs for stairs. But look at this. Ah, we can just walk right up into it now. It's so good. That's been annoying me for a while. Now, I'm going to wait for this to finish, because if we start breaking this wall down, all of this is going to catch on fire. And that is, not what I'm here for. All that for about a stack of cobblestone. I can, however, start working on upgrades for in here. So I'm kind of waiting on all of these to finish, so I'm going to take a nap. And our shingles are done, which is exciting because now I can take this apart. There we go. Our pit kiln structure looks way nicer now. And we have some shingles, but we're not quite ready to use them yet, unfortunately. So let me grab them. Right, I'm going to pull down all of these vines because we're going to be replacing some of this anyway. I rather like the look of these vines hanging on our house. I think it's cute. I'm running very low on food. I think we need to go on a hunting trip to the north. I don't think there was anything but copper up here, and we have possibly too much copper. Oh, there's lead up there. That's right. This is where I want to go, by the way. There's a lot of goats here. Nice. That went pretty clean. Oh, my knife broke. Do I have no sticks? I don't have any sticks. Oh. Excellent. We got enough raw red meat for 2 full pots of red meat stew. That is pretty great. Hey, there's Sprig. What do you got to trade in case you've reset? And he is not, however, he is buying 48 charcoal, and we are 2 charcoal shy. Well, you know I like gears. We are now up to 6. And we already need to make more charcoal. Fun, that. Well, we got the meat that we came for. I'm gonna head back home. A bit richer in gears and calories. I turn a corner, and there's more copper. We do not have room, so I'm just going to mark it and move on for now. But hey, more copper is more copper. Now, because this is the kitchen, and fire is such a thing, I'm going to have a, let's call it a backsplash of cobblestone in this room. But as always, we need more cobblestone. Let's go grab our other pickaxe head. And I need sticks, that's right. Oh man, I'm low on such basic supplies. I'm going to make our first thing from the Purposeful Storage mod, which is a gear rack, which is used to store gears. Somewhat self-explanatory. I'm going to put it right here, right by the door, so we can grab them on our way out. And I'm curious... Oh, we can store temporal gears on it. That's excellent. That's super exciting, actually. Like, legitimately, that is exciting. Temporal gears, since they don't stack, are really, really annoying to store, and this is an elegant solution, I dare say. There, I'll stop honking. That was annoying. Please finish cooking. Go ahead and make 2 tables. Plonk them down right there. Now I can start to bring some things back in. And as for the floating walls, there is a method to my madness. Don't worry, that won't be true for too much longer. I believe I said in an early episode that I like to upgrade in place, and that's what's going on here. I believe I also mentioned that I'm somewhat unique in doing this. I believe, anyway. So, that's why this is so weird and alien. Oh, wait. I need to put that meal in a crock. I nearly forgot. There. Now I'll be able to find the entrance. There are some recipes, including one that I actually really want to make, where you want whole stone blocks. By mining, we get these little stones that we can hold in our hand and throw around, actually. You can use them as a weapon. They don't deal very much damage. But let's say you want to get a whole block. There's two ways you can go about doing it, but the way I'm going to show right now, I think I've heard it referred to as zippering, but there is a mechanic in Vintage Story called relieving, and that's what we're going to be doing. The way you get a full stone block that can be used in recipes for example, the quern that we're going to make, you need to disconnect a block from the other blocks on all 6 of its sides. So this one here is it's a little bit dark in this corner. So this block here is only connected currently to this block. So if I break it, I'll do it from this angle so you can see. The whole thing pops right out. So if I continue this checkerboard pattern, this kind of 3D checkerboard, oh, there's another one. And now we have a few more. And you can repeat this pattern readily. We could also mine above and get some more out of it. But I think 6 is not enough for now, actually. Well, 6 will do for now. But if I take a look at the basalt rock, you'll see that it's an ingredient for a couple things. These 4 at the end here are from a mod. We can make polished versions of stones. There's a couple mechanical contraptions. There's a stone coffin, which is actually for processing steel, so that is very late game. We won't be doing that for some time. And the quern, for which we will need a chisel. And chiseling is a whole thing, really. We won't be getting into too much chiseling today. Alright, that's a bit of basalt that we have to work with now. Let's climb out of here. Oh, it is very late. Let's get back home. Oh, this tree is really close. We're gonna cut this larch down. Actually, we need sticks. Oh yeah, this definitely would have intersected with the building that I have planned. I think it's time to get rid of this roof that we're not using. This partial roof. We're so tight on storage, I'm gonna actually throw this here for a moment. That's extremely temporary. We need more larch wood to finish the second floor, or to add the floor at all, really. When you're placing planks like this, the facing direction of the planks is dependent on the face that you click on to place them. So I could do parquet by alternating what face I'm clicking on when placing them. But at least for this floor, I want them to just be linear, nice and simple. Using some of our flax, we'll need to make 4 flax twine, turn that into a piece of linen, and then place that over 3 hay bales and 6 boards. And now we have a wooden bed, which will let us sleep for longer than the basic hay bale, or than the basic hay bed, but it also, with the mods that we have, allows us to set our spawn. Ah, it's finally started raining, right after we put our bed outside. Oh no, and that extinguished all of our torches, no! Well, the house is at least secure for the time being, but I definitely want to do a lot more to it. But for that I need so So much more wood. I know I pointed it out in the first episode, but the sound change when you go under trees in the rain is... oh, it's such a good touch. What is this inventory? Well, since it's raining, I think perhaps this is a pretty good day to kind of go through what the house is at the moment. It is far from done, but some progress has been made. If we close this door, the rain does get quieter. This isn't actually sealed, but we're far enough away from an opening that it makes the rain a little quieter. This is our kitchen as it currently stands. I'm planning on having a wall in here with the sort of a fridge embedded into it. When we come over here, this is access to our second floor, which, as you can see, we do not yet have a roof, but that's quite alright. But I figure this is a good point in the build to explain some of the mechanics that are in play when you're building, specifically how rooms function, because it's not necessarily the most intuitive system. So there are, broadly speaking, 3 kinds of room. There are rooms overall, and then there are 2 specialty kinds of rooms which have slightly different requirements, and they are greenhouses and cellars. The basic code for a room checks to make sure that a 14 by 14 by 14, so that is 14 meters in all 3 dimensions, is sealed. And that is using solid blocks. Solid doors will count, but this crude door, being garbage, will not. And since we have an open stairwell here with this sort of tower that will be forming, it'll actually be below the main roof of the house. Ooh. That lightning seemed really close. It'll actually be below the main roof of the house, but it's got a little bit of a towery thing going on at the moment. But since this is open, we have to take into account all 3 of those dimensions. So each floor is 3 meters high, plus a 1 meter floor, which means once we start attaching the roof to this structure, we will already be at 7 meters, or half of our allowance for how tall we can go. There's also the width of the building, or kind of the depth, since I would consider this the front wall. And we have a depth of, no, I haven't actually counted. Yep, only 8. And we are gaining a little bit more space on the top because I'm doing this. Whoa, that lightning is really close. Okay, we'll be doing something about that potential hazard soon enough as well. Which, once we finish this off with some nicer blocks, this is going to be an example of jettying. And that's because I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from medieval timber frame buildings, in some senses anyway. It's not a complete recreation, and even once we have the plaster to have really good looking half timber framing, we probably won't be doing it because I prefer to draw inspiration from a couple different building styles and jam them together. But doing this does get us a little bit more space. It gets us 2 meters in either direction, or 1 meter off of every side that we do it on. So although the ground floor is only 4 meters wide in this main room, once we get upstairs, we have a much more spacious 6 meters to turn into our bedroom, which we'll be attending to at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. So down here is where we'll be spending most of our time. And the most relevant dimension for determining if this is a room or not is this width from here all the way to that wall, which is 13 meters. So we could go one further out if we really needed to, and this would still be a room without any interior divisions. A greenhouse, which we can't make yet because you need glass to cover 50% of the roof of a room. And a greenhouse can also be 14 by 14 by 14. It's the same size. However, there is a caveat that water is a non-sealing block. So functionally, your internal maximum space is 13 meters, because this is always the 14th. You can do some tricky stuff with water blocks hidden beneath walls and things like that, but just keep that in mind if you're making a greenhouse. Oh, and it's getting late. Like a rainy night. They're very cozy. And the last kind of room is a cellar, which I've actually already built for us. And that's what this is over here. Cellars are often built underground. Oh, let me get my torch out, it's very dark. Cellars are often built underground, and this is an especially small one. You are able to construct a cellar that is 7 by 7 by 7 meters. There are some caveats off of that, but they have weird math. Just stick to 7 by 7 by 7. It is easier. And this is a pretty small cellar because it is only our first year cellar. We may end up extending this somewhat. And I definitely have plans for expanding it into the future. But this is tucked right under our stairs, and I thought that was a very cozy way to do it. This is also relatively close to our kitchen, which makes it awful convenient. Speaking of, do I have a meal in this? No. Which lets me segue really nicely into how cellars function. So much like how storage vessels have these bonuses at the top of the screen to how quickly things perish in them, cellars grant an additional bonus on top of that by setting a mathematical ceiling to their maximum internal temperature of 5 degrees Celsius. You don't have to really worry about the specifics of that, but if you're a total weirdo making a spreadsheet, you can worry about that. Neither of these storage vessels have anything that can spoil in them, so I'm not going to waste precious space inside of our cellar. Although we will be transferring things out of these into normal chests and trunks because we don't want to waste the food perish speed. Storage vessels actually stay relevant all the way into the late game because of their preservative capabilities. However, this cellar has seen the end of its days. It has served us well, and I'll pick that up in a moment, don't worry. But it is time to move it into an actual cellar. There are a couple more things to note about cellars, and you may note that I've moved the door. The doorway into our home was right here. You can tell from the floor being worn down, but this was the doorway until quite recently, and I've moved it over here. I mentioned that I want to build a wall here with a sort of a fridge. This is a design that I want to try. I don't actually know if it's going to work, but I like the idea of it, so I want to try it. The spoilage rate of food, however, is in part determined by how much light reaches the block, and that is specifically sunlight. If I pull... Oh, I thought this was the torch in the holder. If I pop this off the wall and plunge us into darkness, you can see, or I guess rather not see, that I'm in my cellar right now and it is very dark. It's also the middle of the night. This is a terrible time to demonstrate this. However, the point I'm trying to illustrate, let me actually leave a torch right there. I'll get in here and close the door. You'll see a lot of light actually gets through the door. Doors don't block light. So the only way to keep light out of your cellar, and it's only natural sunlight that matters, is to kind of isolate it inside of tunnel entrances I've seen a lot of, or it just being deep inside your base, which is kind of what we're attempting to do here. Once we seal the roof up, and before we put any windows into this tower, which I am planning on doing, the only way light will be able to reach our cellar is from the front door. And I'm going to put an overhang. Oh, hello again, hey Bill. And I'm going to put an overhang off of our jetty here extending out, I think 3 blocks will probably be good. That'll give us a little bit of sort of patio space right outside our front door. And that sounds cute, as well as practical for some storage. So any sunlight coming through the door as it stands right now has to travel 10 blocks just to reach the door. Once I put this quote-unquote fridge in, which will be right about here, that means the light will have to go around that wall, making it even further, and the overhang should shade this whole area, pushing that number even higher. Our cellar should get excellent bonuses to preservation. Already you can see, just looking in comparison to these 2 storage vessels, this one's grain parish speed is 0.43, and this one tucked into the corner of our cellar, also keep in mind it is getting the cellar bonus, is a parish speed of 0.14 times for grain. So grain in here will keep for, actually we have some, let's see how long, 11.5 years. And now let's just pull it out of our cellar really quickly and drop it just out the side of the door, and it drops all the way to 3.7 years. That's it. So that is how powerful cellars are, and I intend to fill this whole space with goodies. That's rather cute. I like that. Well, part of why I went on that whole monologue about how rooms and cellars and whatnot work was because I'm kind of waiting for it to be bright so I can go and get more resources to get this thing done, but see how well that's going. So I'm going to take a nap on a very wet bed. Actually, no, wait, I can do clay forming. Hold on. I can make much better use of my time. Another thing we're now able to make that we have access to boards is a vertical rack. And vertical racks are really nice because they let you... I did not realize you have to place it on a wall. I thought you could just place it on the ground. Huh, okay, well, for the moment, there. I don't love that. I'll figure it out. We really need to make a smithy at some point. But the vertical rack lets you store your molds in it. Which, I mean, it is less space efficient than even a chest for your molds, but I just like it. I really like the storage out in the open and stuff. I think it's really cool. And what was once our cellar is now going to be where we keep peat for cooking. So I should probably light this. Do I have a spare bowl? No, that's my mug. So I have... Oh, I do have some spare bowls. Cool. Let me grab some fat. And this is actually our first time making this. Because fat is, I feel, better used on other things, I tend not to make very many oil lamps. However, oil lamps are an infinite life source. They're closer to white, as you can see, if I switch between holding the oil lamp, the torch is significantly warmer in its color tone, but it is also an infinite light source. And it is waterproof. You can use it underwater, which I really don't like, but from like a realism standpoint, it bothers me so much, but that's how it is. But I'm going to go ahead and hang it from the ceiling, which hanging is a mod, though you can stick it to walls in vanilla. I just think the hanging looks very cute. This is mechanically identical to vanilla behavior. It just looks different. But that way, it won't be pitch black in our cellar, even if our torch should die. That is entirely off of that oil lamp. In fact, if I pick the oil lamp up and plunge us into horrible darkness for just a moment, the oil lamp has a light level of 11, while a torch has a light level of 14. So I forgot to mention that a torch is a little bit stronger than the oil lamp. The oil lamp just costs more in resources and is a little less powerful, but is infinite and waterproof. So that's the trade-off you're making. And yes, these piles of random things are not going to be in the stairs. I will be moving those soon enough. Alright, clay forming time. And yes, it's more shingles. Oh, one other thing to note that I don't think I mentioned about cellars is that in addition to the blocks needing to be full insulating block faces. They also need to be dirt or stone, or I think a couple other things, but most people tend to make them out of stone. Now, you may note that the shelf has the same stored food perish speed bonus as the other category on the storage vessel. So it doesn't actually make much sense for us to have our crocs in storage vessels when we can put them on shelves instead. Although I just realized one of my mods lets me saw shelves in half, which does cut their space efficiency in half, but it also greatly improves accessibility. So I think for crocs that I want to have in a specific order and use them in a specific order, these short shelves they're just more user-friendly. Though it's still a little unclear which side is which. Strange, it appears to read from the right. It's getting a little lighter. Hang our saw up, grab our pickaxe. You know what, I'll grab these spears as well, just in case we run into anything out there. It is raining, which makes it darker, so there is a better chance of nasties wandering around during the day. But back to the mines I go, because we need more cobblestone to finish our base. Oh, I should have started the pit count. You know what? I'm gonna go back and do that. Oh, we do have onions. For some reason, I thought we didn't. Well, that's good. Okay, that'll be enough for now. I think this is the first time it's rained since we moved here. Some block types do not like to have things fall out from beneath them, so I'm just moving things temporarily into our cellar that we won't need right now. But even this temporary storage is kind of satisfying, isn't it? I'm not sure about tables, so I'm gonna move stuff off of them. And I know storage vessels will fall from gravity if you let them. So I'm definitely gonna move those in. Alright, let's get this crappy floor out of here. Alright, let's see what happens when we take the block out from beneath a table. Yeah, it falls. I kind of thought it would. That's alright. I don't think I like this design for it. Like at all. Well, I'm in need of some new tools, so I think it's a decent time to make some new ingots. And actually, we'll probably cast a couple things too. Let's see, I'll need a pickaxe for sure. That's the one I really want to make right now. And I guess the rest can be ingots, assuming I have enough ingot molds. The reason I say have enough ingot molds is I want to make some tin bronze, because this copper is not holding up as well as I wanted it to. This isn't where our crystallized chunks are going to live forever, but I wanted to call attention to the metal shader that's on them that makes them kind of glint and shine as you move the camera around. Alright, I've crunched some numbers and I'm going to take a full stack of copper and 12 nuggets of cassiterite of our tin. We're going to make 7 ingots with them. So let me get that laid out in here. And we have no firewood, so I'm just going to get this started with peat, which does actually bring us up to 900, so that's not too bad. Wow, that is a color that's got. Wow, okay. And you'll see that the smelting temperature for our cassiterite is actually much lower than that of copper, so we have more than enough temperature, even just with the peat, honestly. You can see it's already starting to glow. But as soon as this gets a little bit higher, we'll drop a couple pieces of our charcoal in it, and that'll get it well over the finish line. I just saw something through the door. Now we're going to need our tongs. Oh, it's getting toasty now. Getting really close over the smelting temperature. So it should start cooking now. That's going to take a while to heat up. I'll throw another 3 pieces of charcoal in there. And we really need to get more wood the next time it's light. We do have some here, though not enough to fill our charcoal pit. And I still have need of this. But while that goes, I'm going to finish out a couple more things with our house. So I think I can... Oh! Look. Shingles are done. And just as I was about to talk about shingles, but I think I can start working on roofing in our stairs here. I believe I have enough shingles to finish at least... I think I actually have enough shingles to finish the whole roof, but... Although I have a plan here too. You know what? Let's do that first. And our molten tin bronze is more than finished, so let's grab that out of here. Going to fill our pickaxe mold first. And, shoot. These two are safe, they're undercover. These... I'm just going to have to be careful. Yeah, in the cellar, that works, right? Those will gradually cool down, and wow, I really waited entirely too long on pulling that crucible off the fire. 84% spoiled. Oh, I'm just gonna have the last one then. Which means we should go off hunting again. Oh, our cattails are done again. Honestly, I'm just gonna let them sit. We don't need them right now, at least not until we have bees, which we need to still find bees at some point. There's so many things we still have to do. Oh, hi, Torch. I forgot I left you down here. I don't totally love that. I'll sit with it. We'll see if I keep with it. Ow! I just stepped on our ingots. They bit me like Legos. Ooh, I think our tin bronze is done. This at least is cool, and it looks like our ingots are all cold as well. So let's pop them out of their molds. And I'm just going to stack our tin bronze up right next to our copper, because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it yet. But I made a bunch of ingots so that I could get a more efficient ratio of cassiterite to copper to make the best use of our limited supply of tin. Relatively limited. It's still a good bit of tin for how early we are. And you know what? I think I do actually know something I want to make. I want to make an axe. Ours is getting pretty low, and we need to go get more wood soon anyway. So what better time than now? Grab one ingot and get this heating up. Our tin is hot enough to work. We can make shears and shovels and so many shiny things. For now though, just an axe head. Oh please, this is not the time for me to get hungry. There we are. And just for comparison, my copper axe would have 312 durability, and my tin bronze axe has 500. So that's a good bit more. It also has a higher mining speed, so not only will it last longer, but it will also be able to do more before I need to replace it. Very efficient. I'm kind of thinking I should do this whole bottom floor in cobblestone. Yeah, I'm leaning that way even from out here. This storm is crazy. Oof. Okay, I'm gonna need to get a lightning rod up. Yes, lightning rods are a thing. Don't mind me just building my house in the rain. You know, as you do. I'm not out of shingles, am I? There's more down here, right? Yes. Oh, there's a ton more. Good. Good, good, good. Still need to make more as we go, but I should be able to at least finish this build. The shell of this build, anyway. We have a lot to do on the interior still. Excellent. Now this is lit up. We have a cute little lookout tower. Nice. Man, what an incredible mod. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. I'm gonna want to slim that down, I think. Or do something with it anyway. That looks very strange right now. Let me really quickly refresh our torches. We have a bunch of them now. Speaking of which, we should start making lanterns. Can you tell I have no idea what to do with this door? Maybe I'll put it there and then put a chair in here. Like a desk. This will be a little, I don't know, reading corner or something. I have no idea. I do want to put like a window in here, I think. Maybe I'll keep this. You know, it's starting to grow on me. And I have some chiseling to do up there, actually. Speaking of, let's make a chisel. Oh, also, the fridge is done, as it were. This is just a small cellar in the wall, and you might think this is kind of silly that we have a second cellar next to our normal cellar, and I mean, you're not wrong. But the idea is that this is our storage, that this is our storage proper. This is where things will go for the winter once they've been processed and turned into meals or jams or bread or whatever thing that we're going to store for a long time. And then this cellar is going to be treated as a fridge. This is more temporary storage, so I'll put the current meal in here, or this trunk is in here so that I can place the harvest in here, and the trunk doesn't get a particularly good perish speed bonus, but it gets one from being in the cellar at all. So while we're processing the food into whatever we're preserving it as, this will keep it fresh for, you know, a couple days longer. And that's a huge help, because for berries, for example, if we're processing berries, berries go bad very quickly. You don't get along with them. So just having this quote-unquote fridge, a sort of working space for our food, is pretty handy. And it does in fact count as a cellar. In the upper left, the HUD clock mod, simple HUD clock mod, that little house icon means that we are currently in a room. There's another icon for when you're in a greenhouse, and if I walk into this cellar, it changes to an icon indicating that we're in a cellar. And there is just barely enough room that I can stuff myself into this fridge, like being stuffed into a locker in school. Close the door, and oh, I'm like clipping through so I can actually walk out through the door. But you can see that since I am technically in this block here, this is a cellar. Let me face through the door again. That's pretty funny. But this is a cellar. This will be a working space for us going forward. I've never done this strategy before, so I'm really curious to see how this will work out. Ergonomically, I'm curious how this will feel to interact with over time. I like the idea, and I want to see how it works in practice. We need wood. We are so close to finishing this. Oh, our horsetail is coming. I'm Do I have a knife? I don't. I'm going to very quickly harvest these. And how many of these do I need? Because horsetails are one of the ingredients for potion bases, and I'd like to start poking at the alchemy system. I have 6 of these, and I have 6 horsetails. I will use 4 of them. Okay. Let me grab our mortar and pestle. And we take our poisonous mushroom and our horsetails with our mortar and pestle, and that gives us a basic potion base. Now, one of the nice things about the basic potion base is it doesn't spoil. So that is how we're going to store that. Do I have a knife anywhere? No. Okay, let's make one real quick. This might be the last stone knife we make. Especially if I grab a bone for it. And even though this isn't a great solution for where to plant things, I want to get a permanent flower farm set up. But for now, I'll just plant it there, call it a day. Oh, I still have my mortar and pestle in our inventory. I need to do something about our inventory. I should have prepared better for the day. It shrinks the teapot to fit it onto the shelf. I kind of love-hate that. Yeah, never mind. I kind of dislike that. That feels very weird to me. So we'll just keep it on the table. Okay, and I have a plan to make that a lot less janky looking. Don't worry. This will make sense in a moment. I need more wood first. So let's go over to our local larch forest. Pick up some wood. It only took us like 5 hours to get our inventory ready enough to do anything. Oh, I think these are some of the larches I've planted. I see a drifter over there. Hopefully he won't notice me because I do not want to be bothered. Nah, he knows I'm here. Alright, drifter. I'm about to start honking. I need to go hunting. Like, new objective. Oh, that's right, there's mushrooms here. You know what? Oh, these are poisonous. Well, I'm still gonna tag them and actually collect them. And some of this horsetail. I can grow my own, but if I'm collecting all these mushrooms, I want to be able to convert them pretty soon. These are edible. Good, good, good. I don't know why I haven't started honking yet. I'm just waiting for the inevitable. I don't know why I'm not taking damage from starving yet, but I'm just gonna go ahead and take advantage of it. Our first bronze tool is about to be used. That's pretty exciting. It's a big step for the world. Let's see how much faster it goes. This is a nice big tree. I can already tell it's a crap ton faster. Oh man. Okay, and we already have some at home, so this should be enough to fill our charcoal pit, get that started, and... oh. Have I been in here before? No, and I'm not doing it right now. Okay. Now you can kind of see home looming out of the mist, out of the darkness. Would you look at that? Speaking of which, I share things into the Discord pretty often. Sometimes it's screenshots of while I'm actively playing Vintage Story, which is a sneaky way to see behind the scenes on when things are coming out and what's going on. But I also am making a point of sharing screenshots of the map in the Discord at the end of every episode, so you can see how the base develops, how little paths grow, and how the world changes shape. That's one fully zoomed out with the waypoints turned off. One at this scale, which is 1:1. Once I take a screenshot and send it into the Discord, it's very crisp. And I'm thinking of doing one zoomed all the way in so you can really see the change in shape as our settlement grows over the in-game years. And I gotta say, this is looking pretty cozy again. I don't know exactly how I'm going to light this room. The lighting on either end like this works really well, but this is an even number of blocks wide, which makes it a little bit weird because you can't really center things. I don't think it looks too awkward for that though. Especially with this roof mod, Vintage Story I don't feel has as big of a problem with odd versus even building. Because like this is odd, crammed right up next to an even, and you know, doesn't look half bad. I need to get a support in for this roof, but that is why, part of why we were getting logs. First, I want to fill this with charcoal because we only have 3 pieces right now, and that is not enough. I can hear thunder, but I don't hear any fire in there. If you can hear fire in your charcoal pit, it is probably combusting. But since I can't hear anything on the other side of that wall, I think we're good. The reason I had a question about it is because of these debarked logs in the corners. All of the sides inside of the charcoal chamber are non-flammable blocks, but all of the corners are these, so I wanted to make sure that wouldn't start on fire, but I think we're good. I didn't see anything inside. I think we're good to go. Excellent. That was something I didn't test in creative first. You know, the thing that could actually catch my entire home on fire. That's the part I didn't test. Okay, I'm going to put a piece of charcoal in there, and I want to make chisel, and I want to make... It takes 3? Wow, okay. It's getting very weird that I'm not starving. I'm going to quickly relog. There we go, now I'm starving. Let me eat. Bam, bam, you. Ooh, sweet. Now I have 6 potion bases and no idea what to really do with them. Alright, there's our chisel done. Now, you'll notice that we have a hammer in our offhand. It's going to come up here. And I need to click on the block in order to make it a chiseled block. It's a right click, and now I can use F to change the size, and also a couple other things, like I can flip, rotate, and also set the name. This might actually be from QP's Chisel Tools, I'm not sure. Right now, I'm just going to be doing the 8x8x8. I'm just going to make all of these chiseled blocks and chunk those down quite a bit to open this up a little bit more. But that isn't the only change I wanted to make up here, though that should make the top illuminate a bit more. Well, it seems a little more visible anyway. There's a little bit more that I still wanted to do. There we are. That looks a lot more sensible already. Good. Ah, and it's getting lighter, so we can just start to see it. Let me actually climb up here, see if I can get a nice angle. And... you know what? I'm pretty happy with that. Our farm is coming in very nicely. There's a bunch of stuff ready to harvest. Not quite the grains, those still take a long time, but a lot of the vegetables are actually ready to go, even some of the ones we planted quite recently. And I think that is a pretty decent place to call it for this episode. We've gotten a lot of upgrading of our house done, though we still have plenty more to go. Specifically, I'd like to put some windows on that second floor, but we'll need glass for that. So we'll be making that upgrade at a later date. Next episode, we're going to need to attend to our food, so we'll probably start off with some hunting, but then it is on to more building. And there's several buildings I'd like to make, and honestly, I'm not sure which one I'm going to, well, frankly, remember that I need to make. If we're being honest, remembering is really the challenge that I have between episodes. But if you're interested in seeing that next episode when it comes out, remember to hit that subscribe button. And in any case, thank you very much for stopping by and hanging out. And as always, have a great one.